Hello, welcome back to my channel. So, today we'll be briefly discussing the chapter Food Security in India, which is chapter number 4 in the economics book of class 9th Ncert. So, the first point that I would like to discuss is what is food security? So as you can see in this notes, food security is a combination of three factors that would ensure that there is no risk of the availability, accessibility or affordability of food. So food security is associated with availability, accessibility and affordability. So let's discuss these points briefly. What does availability has to do with food security? Availability in the sense if there is no food available in the market or no food is being produced by farmers, then how will you get food? Second is accessibility. Suppose I am staying in a village in a very rural district. So suppose there are no roads towards that village, there are no connectivity mechanisms ensuring a smooth transportation to the village. That means food may be there, but that food is not accessible to me. Third is affordability. Affordability means food is there, it is accessible, but I have no money to buy it because either I do not have money or the food is too expensive. Initially, people used to feel that food insecurity or food crisis or famine is caused because of the lack of availability. But Amartya Sen later proved that it is the entitlements, opportunities, and accessibility that also may play a keen role in it. Second point, why food security? What is the importance of food security? Food security is important because we want to protect the vulnerables. As we discussed in the last video, vulnerables may be anyone. It may be a poor person, it may be a scheduled caste person, a person from the community of scheduled tribe who have had innumerable disadvantages and they are still vulnerable. It also can be a pregnant mother. Suppose a pregnant mother does not get the necessary food, she will herself be unhealthy, she will give birth to an unhealthy child, which would also lead to malnutrition. So food security is essential so that these vulnerable categories, which is pregnant child, infant, poor, SC and ST, do not suffer. The second point is if we have food security, we would save ourselves from the extreme repercussions of a famine. So, what is a famine or famine? A famine is a condition when there is innumerable deaths resulting from starvation plus epidemics. What is starvation? Obviously, there is no food, maybe because of war, because of non-availability, because of no money. So, people starve and they die. Second is when there is no availability of proper food, still people can die because of epidemic. Now, how that can happen? If you consume contaminated water or decayed food because of unavailability of food, it also might lead to several diseases. So, if we can see, food security is essential to protect the vulnerable to avoid extreme repercussions of famine. So, what can a famine do? We can seek the example of Bengal famine, which was caused in 1943, where 30 lakh people were dead. Third point, where do we find the more food insecure people or people who might be more vulnerable? As discussed, like poverty, this phenomena is also very relative. For instance, economically backward states, tribal and remote areas, regions prone to natural disasters could be more vulnerable. Amongst the different states in India, parts of UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh are more food insecure and need proper food security programs because innumerable people die out of hunger and poverty in these states. Now that we discussed about hunger, what is the relationship between hunger and poverty? Simple. If you are poor, you may not have the money to buy your food, so you'd sleep hungry. If you are hungry continuously, it also reflects that maybe you are poor, that is why you are remaining hungry. So they both are kind of interconnected. When we talk about hunger and poverty, two concepts to keep in mind. One is chronic hunger, one is seasonal hunger. Chronic hunger, it just means a persistent type of condition where the quantity and the quality of food is extremely inadequate, leading to chronic hunger. Poor people usually suffer from this. Seasonal hunger, it is this condition where only in particular seasons there is unavailability of food or there is lack of food security. For example, in rural areas, there may be some seasons where there is no crops or crops are being harvested. At that point of time, perhaps people are poor and they cannot buy or there is lack of availability. So it leads to seasonal hunger. It is not chronic hunger. In urban areas also, seasonal hunger can happen. Say a casual labor, in 1 year he may get employment for 4 months, the other 6 months he may not have any employment, but in those 6 months his hunger is not going to reduce, so he may have to sleep hungry. So this is called seasonal hunger. It is not chronic. It can change from season to season. It can be okay in 1 year, it cannot be okay in another year. It is highly inconsistent. So if this is the situation, what is India doing? 3 points you have to remember: Green Revolution, buffer stock and public distribution system. Green Revolution, as we know, was a very remarkable step towards food security, basically targeting towards wheat and rice. It avoided famine and kind of created food security in several parts of India. But what is the demerit? As you can see, this cross which is there. What about others? We don't just need rice and wheat to survive. We might need pulses, we might need fruits, vegetables. So Green Revolution did not address them. Second, it was disproportionate, which means states like Punjab and Haryana really progressed and benefited from Green Revolution, but others like Odisha or Kerala could not reap the benefits. So government still has done a significant improvement to the condition through Green Revolution. Second is the concept of buffer stock. Buffer, as you know, means extra. So buffer stock means government through FCI, Food Corporation of India, usually procures food grains from farmers and stocks them so that it can use it during famine. It can redistribute it into areas where people cannot buy or it is not accessible. So it is government's responsibility to have a buffer stock to protect the vulnerable sections of our society. So buffer stock concept is very important. Another important concept over here is minimum support price. What is minimum support price? It means that many times farmers feel that okay, we are producing this type of crop, what if nobody buys it? What if there's a crop failure? What will happen to us? So government promises them that before sowing only, they will assure the farmers that suppose you are sowing 10 kg of rice, even if nobody takes it, government will buy it from you at a minimum rate. So the farmer will know that there is no risk. Even if people do not buy it, the government will buy it. So that price is known as minimum support price. So for instance, a person might just buy rice for 10 rupees, but government might say, even if people don't buy, I'll give you 11 rupees. So you please cultivate that crop. So that is an incentive to farmers. Okay, so buffer stock helps. First point we saw, stock of food grains and all. Second is minimum support price is used to buy those things, and distribution in deficit areas in issue price to avoid shortage and adversity. So this buffer stock which is created, first you get it in minimum support price, but you sell it in issue price. So they will redistribute it into areas where people cannot afford or people are vulnerable, and they will sell the product in issue price, which is much less than what they have got. Suppose they bought the product for 10 rupees, they can sell the product for say 3 rupees or 2 rupees so that people can buy it. How does this process happen? Through the public distribution system. That means whatever the FCA procures is again redistributed through the PDS system. So let us just understand the PDS system. Once the food is there in the buffer stock, it is distributed to other areas, and those shops are known as fair price shops or ration. This process is known as rationing, where people get ration cards and they can come and buy food, grains or kerosene at issue price. That means it very minimum price in a subsidized rate. So over here your homework is try to find out details from the book about the 3 type of ration cards. I have talked about Antodaya, BPL and APL. You should find the details of it. What is the merits and demerits of PDS? Merits: it has stabilized prices, it avoids hunger and famine, affordable and accessible. The negative part is there is lot of corruption. Sometimes there is food grains, but because it is not distributed properly, people still suffer and sleep hungry. They do not have food. Then the rising minimum support price, farmers are benefited through it, but the cost is too much for the government to handle. That also creates further indebtedness or loans. Then there are malpractices where people from well-off family buy these grains in a very reasonable price and put it in a black market where others buy it at a higher rate. So PDS is a definitely important measure. Initially when PDS had come, it was known as PDS, public distribution system, where everybody got the benefits. Later it became revamped PDS, and now it is targeted PDS. Targeted PDS means everybody does not get benefit, only selected people get the benefit, and selected people are basically the vulnerables. Cooperatives and food security. Cooperatives like Amul, Mother Dairy, they are not part of the government, but they are also helping in ensuring food security. Your homework is to find out the details of NGO ADS, which is there in the economics book. So what they do, Amul, Mother Dairy, by providing sufficient milk at subsidized rates, they are also ensuring food security. In this chapter, the important concepts which we discussed are: first is MSP, minimum support price. Always remember that is given to farmers before the sowing of food crops. Buffer stock, as I have discussed, it is procured by FCI and later redistributed. Issue price is the price in which ultimately people buy, the vulnerable groups buy the food grains from the fair price shops. Rationing, I discussed it. Fair price shops are just shops which are ensuring the process of public distribution system. Subsidies, when the government pays a part of the food grains cost to make it more affordable, it is called subsidy. For instance, petrol may be very costly, but government suppose pays 50% of it. We just have to pay 50% of it. So that is called subsidy. Subsidy helps everyone. MSP helps farmers. Subsidy helps farmers, citizens, everyone. PDS we discussed, public distribution system. You should know the 5 merits of it, 5 demerits of it, but how government through Green Revolution, PDS is helping, and buffer stock is helping to ensure food security. Then you have to discuss about chronic and seasonal hunger. Chronic is a persistent one, and seasonal is which comes and goes in particular seasons. So you should revise this completely properly, and all the best for your exam.